Kings Island has had a lot of events over the years, but one of the messiest events, it happened in 2008 and was repeated in 2009, was a Major League Eating contest. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans, because that's who we are, and that's who we care about. So my favorite subject, Don, eating.
Eating, that's right. So, Major League Eaters, they tested their jaw strength and stomach capacity in a bid for the Chili Spaghetti Eating World Championship in 2008 and 2009 Labor Day weekend at Kings Island.
Yeah, 2008 and 2009, Humble Bob Shoud won the title back-to-back, eating the most Skyline out of all of them.
He did. He was expected to compete for the championship, but another, really notable major league eater, Joey Chestnut. He participated each year. Humble Bob edged him out both years. Now, in 2008, now picture this. Bob ate 13.5 pounds of Skyline chili in 10 minutes. 13.5. The next year, he was even better, broke his own record, 13.9 pounds. Ryan, you were there watching this. It was a spectacle. I mean, just to see them just grabbing, putting their hands in the plate and just shoving that, in their mouth. It was, the chili sauce just dripping down their throats, getting all over their shirts and everything. I mean, just really messy, but in another way, just entertaining to watch.
It was rather disgusting, but also kind of fun. I would note, I don't know if he's a listener to this show, but my friend Ricky actually was a competitor the first year. And I actually hung out with him at the park following the contest. I would have gone home and thrown out personally, but he said that the thing that was that slowed him down, aside from going against like professional eaters, was that they made the Skyline and then they sent it over there and it sat for a really long time before, they did the whole ceremonious thing and announced everybody. And he's like, by the time we ate it, it was cold. So he's like, for somebody that knows what Skyline tastes like, it was just like really bad Skyline, But yeah, it didn't stop Chestnut or any.
No, Chestnut was. He had never eaten anything like that. I mean, he's known for the hot dogs, the Nathan hot dogs that he does 4th of July every year at Coney Island. But there was this other girl. Her name was Sonia Thomas. She was known as the Black Widow, and she's very competitive. I thought she might be the first one out, but she hung in there with Humble Bob Shout and Joey Chestnut. She did over, I think, 11 pounds each year, and she couldn't have weighed more than like 105 pounds, but just to watch her put that away too was impressive.
Do you think that it's ironic that she weighed 105 pounds going into the contest and 115 coming out of the contest?
I don't know. I mean, I think the other thing about this, and a lot of people will tell you this, that it's kind of an acquired taste. If you're not from Cincinnati, you're not a big fan maybe of Skyline chili, necessarily. So it takes a little while to get used to it. But like Humble Bob Shout, after he got done, he did the check presentation, gets the photo, then he's off with his wife and 2 kids, and they went and rode Diamondback, right after he got done putting down 13.9 pounds. He had no problem with it. Others that were competing, they were, right behind the stage, and because I was up there getting pictures and that, I would look over, I would hear them, throwing it back up into the trash cans and stuff. So from that perspective, it was not a good time for me to be, close to that and hearing that. But for the guests, watching in the audience, it was something you just don't see every day as an eating contest. And, and if you have, it's normally like hot dogs or hamburgers, but to see Skyline chili, I mean, just totally different. It was a way for the park to tie in, a Cincinnati tradition. Skyline's at the park, so it was a way to work, partner with them for this. And it was just another way for Kings Island to garner a lot of media attention, not just locally, but throughout the country for this contest. And it kind of set the stage for awareness of what was coming up after Labor Day. the park would be open for Halloween Haunt and all that. So it was another way to just get that messaging out there without talking about Halloween Haunt. It was just included as part of those stories that, Kings Island will reopen for Halloween Haunt starting in the state. So it was a good way to tie a lot of different things in. But the press clippings for this, both photos and the video of it, news stations, across the country, newspapers everywhere. It's when you're talking about photo opportunities, eating contests are one of those things that provide a great opportunity for you.
Yeah, people at their most vulnerable, and you want to take pictures of them and send them out to the press, Don. But so I'm guessing that Skyline, because of the optics, was chosen. Was La Rosa's ever discussed or anything like that, or was it kind of like Skyline? That's what we want to do.
I think it was just easier to, when you're up there and you got 10 minutes to put away food, it's just easier to just grab that and just shove it in your mouth, than La Rosa's would have been. But yeah, it was something that, was talked about what's going to be the food product. We wanted to tie it into something that, uh, was Kings Island, and just came down to one of those two. But Skyline was the more natural fit for an eating
Yeah, no,
contest.
I completely think that you guys made the right decision because I mean, obviously with the photos involved and stuff like that, it's still uh disgusting and probably La Rosa's would have been way cleaner, but it's kind of funny that you have that option because Skyline is so not
Mhm.
park food. But nobody in the Kings Island sphere, the Kings Island universe thinks of it that way. They always associate Skyline with Kings Island, but would you ever imagine like a normal everyday theme park having like chili spaghetti? Like that's so heavy. It's the worst thing to have on the menu, but
Very heavy. It's still warm that time of the year. But like I said, the amazing thing to me was just how, humble Bob Shout, he just, ate it, collected his check, and I'm going to go enjoy the park.
yeah, it's I did get to talk to Joey Chestnut and I was like, "All right, how do you do it?" And he was like, "I don't get hungry or I don't get full." He's like, "I don't even necessarily get hungry. I just eat and eat and eat and then nothing ever happens." But you had a
Yeah.
photo that went pretty viral, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was of humble Bob, uh, just moments before the contest, ended. He had his hand, with a big chunk of Skyline chili, ready to shove it into his mouth. And it was in 41 different states that photo was picked up in newspapers. We're talking the Los Angeles Times, New York Times, Boston Globe, Houston Chronicle, Charlotte Observer, Philadelphia, where he was from. Obviously they picked it up. USA Today. It was
That's really
everywhere.
cool. What did it feel like to have your photo out like that with that kind of line?
It was kind of I wasn't a photographer, and I never had any of that kind of training. I didn't learn how to really shoot photos until I started working at Kings Island. So to be able to add that to my skill set and have a photo that was deemed good enough by Associated Press to pick up and distribute everywhere, I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, that was part of a long string of record breaking and just a lot of PR
Yeah.
dreams, shall we say?
Yeah, but the other thing you have, when you're looking at something like this, not everybody knew who Humble
Mhm.
Bob was, unless you followed Major League Eating. But everybody, in the country knows Joey Chestnut. So when you have something like this and you have the opportunity, you got Joey Chestnut coming in as a PR person, that's great. But what do you do with Joey Chestnut for that week? So you want to leverage that. So we had Joey on all the local radio stations. We had him in studio at the different TV stations in town, Cincinnati, Dayton, talking about this, just drumming up interest. And he was the consummate professional, very easy to work with. What do you need? What do you need from us to help promote this?
That's really cool. Now, I'm going to ask the listeners at this point. So if you're an audio listener, feel free to tweet at us at tower_topics. But if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Let us know, would you be able to compete in a Skyline eating contest? Now, I'm not saying can you eat 15 pounds of Skyline. I know I could, but that's just me. Now, could you stomach more than like one serving of Skyline? Because I think it's like super filling and stuff. So let me know what you think, because this could be a bigger feat than even you or I imagine. You know?
Yeah. What's the most? And we'll make it a little bit different. A little. We're not talking Skyline chili here because that would be kind of hard. But like hot
Mhm.
dogs, what's the most you've ever like eaten at one time with hot dogs.
Do you remember the time after you and I were calling the Thunder hockey when we did commentary together and we went to IHOP for unlimited pancakes and you asked the
Yes,
woman what the record was and she's like, I don't know, but he broke it because I ate so many pancakes.
yes. Oh my gosh, I think you probably had more than a
Hmm.
dozen pancakes, anywhere from 12 to 15
Well, to be
pancakes.
clear, they're like 4 inches in diameter, you know? I'm just like, I mean, any pizza is a personal pan pizza if you believe in yourself. I want that chiseled on my gravestone, you know?
I had the most I ever ate was 14 hot dogs at a Milwaukee Brewers game in 1989.
Really? 14?
Yeah, 14 hot dogs. Yeah. Now, granted, the game went 10 innings, so the extra inning helped me get one more in. But they had this brewer sauce, it was like the secret stadium sauce that they put on the hot dog. So that made it really, really good. And I just couldn't get enough of them. So, I would go up and get two, come back. Oh, that was really good. Go back and get two more. Oh, that was really good. And then they had the vendors walk in the seats, which made it easier. So, yeah, 14. My friends, they couldn't believe it that I was able to put down 14 brewer dogs at a game in
And we think
1989.
Joey Chestnut's the American hero here.
Well, now I had it was 3 hour, 3 hour game there. So, I mean, I had a little more time than 10 minutes. We're talking, he puts down, I don't know, whatever, 50, 60, 100 even, in 10 minutes. So, but for me, 14 was my
Now, have
record.
you ever considered that perhaps he's a sprinter while you're a marathon runner?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a
Because I
way to
think
look
if
at
you're,
it. Chicken wings were another thing. I did win a chicken wings eating contest once. There was a place called Willie's Sports
Mhm.
Cafe in Cincinnati, and they had a chicken wing eating contest, and I did win that. So in 10 minutes, I ate 63.
63, that's that's pretty good. All right. Yeah. Do you remember the unlimited wings at Red's Hall of Fame Grill during Haunt that one year?
Yes.
That was pretty
Yes.
cool. But the thing though, okay, so let me rant here a little bit. If you get unlimited apps from like, I think it's Fridays, they give you one and then it's like, what do you want for your next one? And it's like, all right, I want this. And then it's like 20 minutes later, they give you that one. So basically, it's like your brain catches up with your stomach so you can like eat less. But when they had the unlimited wings at the Reds Hall of Fame Grill, they had them in
Hmm.
like catering containers. So you just go up and grab more. So that was a huge opportunity to eat as many wings as possible. Nowadays, it'd be too expensive with the price of chicken, but
I did that one night just to show somebody from the marketing team that I could do more than 30. They didn't think I
see, I
could.
feel like chicken wing, bone-in chicken wings aren't a lot of food, so I don't think it would be terribly hard to do like a fair amount of them. All right,
No, it's not, yeah, I mean, it's not as hard as the boneless ones would be.
yeah, the boneless are also, it's breaded and stuff like that typically.
And here we are, Ryan. Once again, we get
Well, we're
off
talking about
track.
chicken
That's what we
wings. That
do.
was kind of the direction I was hoping this conversation would go. But with that being said, let's move on to the listener question. All right, our listener question is from Ashley Woods. She said, do you think the potential Cedar Fair Six Flags merger will affect what type of major roller coaster KI will see next? It's a very good question. Why don't you start?
What I think it does or will do is I think it will delay when the next big major roller coaster comes in. I think it would take a little bit longer to have that next big major roller coaster installed, just because the money's just not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think when we talk about major installations, we're talking something north of $25 million at this point easily. So they can spend that on a roller coaster, or they can have shows open all summer, or they can have operating hours that are reasonable, or they can have staff. I mean, there's a lot of things that need money spent on it at the time. And now we're talking about the next couple of years. And
Yeah, and I don't know when the next, coaster, major coaster on the board, was going to be. Nobody does. But what I think happens here is, you have to be a little bit more patient and, let the dust settle a little bit. So I think it's just going to be another, whatever that timeline would have been, it's just going to be another year or two later down the line before the next major roller coaster
now
goes
to
in.
answer your question, though, the answer is yes. It is going to affect the decision,
Oh, well,
and that's because the butterfly effect. Everything affects everything else. But to clarify with this, it's also going to be a matter of Cedar Fair and Six Flags now have more buying power. So it would make sense if 3 or 4 Parks One RMC to negotiate in that manner. Vekoma would be a fantastic company because they've got the wherewithal where they can probably negotiate, and now they're dealing with 40 properties or whatever they're going to be. So a couple more family boomerangs, and then maybe something like a Big Bear Mountain or whatever for a reasonable price. Like, I could see that. But that's a really good question. Well, I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.